Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Trek Canon. So today we're going to be talking about telepaths, but not just telepaths, but the top 10 strongest telepaths in Star Trek. Now, I took some notes before we begin, and I wanted to just kind of cover some of the comments that I know I'm going to get off this video. So, off the bat, I wanted to cover just one type of telepath. Telepath that don't need to use any of their hands, feet, toes, tentacles, any of that types of things. Because as we know, the canon or the universe of Star Trek is vast with a bunch of species that we've encountered over the decades. We have telepaths to telepaths. People basically telepaths who can only communicate with telepathic species, and that species like the Cairn. We have touch-based telepaths. One of the most famous would be the Vulcan, which we'll kind of get into the caveats of the Vulcans in a minute, but another one would be the lithians, a very deadly touch-based telepathic species. We got short-range telepaths like Villas Thed of DS9. We have empathic telepaths like Jim and Troy would be some of the more famous ones. We have telekinetic telepaths, or telepaths who have telekinetic or psychokinetic abilities, like for instance the Ocapa. All right, we have regular telepathic telepaths, but prodigies of their particular species, like for instance Tim Melbourne. We have telepaths that need assistance, like Professor X with a Cerebro. So that's people like Tarkin, from Enterprise. We have species that are even considered overloaders, which means that if they even try to communicate telepathically with a human, it's lethal or dangerous effects, kind of like the lectrins or something. I mean, lactrans, from the animated series. So I've kind of rambled on long enough and everything, and I know why people are here, but let's get into the top 10 strongest telepaths in Trek. All right, so we're going to start with number 10, and that's going to be the Julians. All right, now the Julians are from the Next Generation episode Violations. Okay, so everybody should be familiar with those guys. Pretty strong telepaths can invade you telepathically, so I kind of consider them the Freddy Kruegers of the telepaths of Star Trek. At number 9, you're going to have the Interrance from the episode Remember from Voyager series. All right. Now, the Interrans are basically able to implant and extract memories into people. And for those of you who have seen things like Inception, you know how powerful that can be. Now, at number 8, we have the Botha from Voyager episode Persistence of Vision. Now, the Botha basically use their telepathy as a self-defense mechanism. So they broadcast pretty much, hey, this is our space. Um, don't come in it. And if you do violate their space, what they can do is they can emit a telepathic field, which would cause you to start having more progressive hallucinations until you become incapacitated. And if you stay incapacitated long enough, they end up dying, So, at number 7, we're going to have species 8472. Everybody already knows the species 8472 from the Voyager episode Scorpion 1 and 2, and from a few other Voyager episodes as well. The species 8472 can communicate over vast differences. They communicate with their ships or with their technology, period, with each other and with other telepathic species. Now, at number 6, we have the Ocapa. Now, let's talk about the Ocapa. As we know, Kes was one of the longer living Ocapas till we came across some of the other Ocapa colonies later on in the Voyager series. But to my knowledge, Kes was the only one who was the most advanced with her psychokinetic and telepathic abilities, as opposed to the guy who she was learning, the Occapan dude she was learning, who she met with the second caretaker and all that kind of stuff. But oh, please excuse the bird. They just want to have conversations with us too. They want to attend class. And what's the best thing, man, is be sitting back listening to a video about something you like and listening to the sounds of nature. But anyway, so of course we have the Ocapa. Now, at number five, we have the BetaZoids. Now, we know, now please, please, please do not misunderstand the power of a BetaZoid telepath with, say, Deanna Troy. Deanna Troy is half BetaZoid, which gives her and more empathic abilities. But she has some telepathic abilities, but that's with other telepathic races. But with a true Beta Z, people like Tam Airborne or even Loraxana Troy, who, with her telepathic abilities, just, you know, casually was able to stop these guys, the fish people, I love calling them the fish people, guys from blowing up a conference. So, and we know how casually she uses her telepathic abilities as well. So, and number four, we have the Wraith from Star Trek Enterprise's Rogue Planet. Now, the Wraith are a species that I consider them Star Trek's truest shapeshifters. All right, so if they turn into a tree, you scan that tree, it's a tree. They turn into a rock, you scan that rock. Whatever they turn into, that's what you scan. You know what I mean? So they have the ability to telepathically link to someone and become what that person desires, or that what that person is thinking about, things of that nature. And that could be, you know, in nefarious hands, used very deadly. Which brings me to number three, the salt vampire, which pretty much does everything that the Wraith does except for turn into inanimate. Well, we haven't seen it turn into inanimate objects, but that doesn't mean that it can't. But we've seen it shapeshift into whatever its prey desires. So, a loved one, lust one, boyfriend, girlfriend, family member, whatever that person desires, the salt vampire can become that in an effort to kill you. Now, at number two, we have the telepathic pitcher plant from the Voyager episode, I believe it was Bliss. All right. Now, the telepathic pitcher plant comes from a species of space varying species that, instead of using pheromones or instead of using scent to lure its prey in effort to kill it or to devour it, eat it, whatever, it uses situations. So it puts its prey into a state of bliss to where it wants to go there. So its prey will see home if it's missing home. It will see a party if the person is lonely, or missing people or something like that. It has a very, very strong telepathic feel that even the strongest telepaths were unable to, discern reality from, non-reality. Which brings us to number one, the reality benders themselves, the telosians. From Star Trek, the original series, The Cage, Menageries 1 and 2, and even made some stints in Discovery. And they should be in Discovery. And what they should be doing within season 2, towards the end of season 2, and definitely by season 3, is introducing the Telosians quite well, because that should be leading into the episode The Cage. So, that was my top 10 list of the strongest telepaths. Now, as far as runner-ups, I got about 5 runner-ups. Number 5 would be the Medusan, which we'll know from Is There No Truth and Beauty from the original series, and as a regular cast member in the Prodigy series. All right, we got the Raymans at number 4, offshoot of the Vulcans, or offshoot of the Romulans, who are offshoot of the Vulcans. So we've seen what the Raymans can do as far as intercept thoughts and pick up thoughts and stuff like that, even over great distances. All right. At number 3, we have the Interrance, not to be mixed up with the Enarans, but the Enarans, which are offshoot of the Andorian species. So Hammer, think of people like him. Uh, Number 2, we have the Vulcans. The Vulcans, this is that caveat. We know that Vulcans can need touch to mind meld with an individual, but Vulcans can also, at short distance, project their telepathic abilities to whereas they can say Spock has been shown to break out of a cell using this technique. I know for a fact once, and he's tried it twice, but the 2 episodes I will put it right here to whereas that was the case. We also know that Vulcans, through episodes like Discovery and even in the original series, that Vulcans can feel other Vulcans in distress or at moment of death and things of that nature. So, we got the Vulcans. And at one, I'm going to have to say the most deadly and the most powerful touch base or runner up telepath would be, like I was saying earlier on, the lithians. These guys right here. That could lock you in a whole world, take information from you. They could, they real dangerous, real bad, real bad individuals, real ill tempered too. They got some attitude problems on them. But let me know what you guys thought about the top 10 list. Let me know if you guys thought that I missed anybody on here. Um, you know, we have some, the Lectrans. I had mentioned the Lectrans from the animated series, and I know there's a lot of people who probably don't know what a Lectran is. I put their picture back up, but take a look at some of I know they was in one episode of the original series. I mean, of the animated series. Take a look at them because they're very interesting, unique, and exotic species that are featured in Star Trek canon. So, as a person of canon, I think that you guys should be aware of some of the more unique and um, lesser known species that are just not the typical humanoid with the prosthetics on their face. So anyway, let me know if you guys think I missed anything in the comments. Let's talk about any of the places that I put any of the telepaths in this. Let me know any comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and please subscribe, guys, because I see us a lot of people as a lot of um, I don't consider myself an influencer. I consider myself a person that just likes to talk about Star Trek with other people. But I noticed there's a lot of people who watch the videos and don't subscribe, or don't put any comments, or don't even introduce themselves. Just say hi, man. Put a thumbs up, but or thumbs down if you didn't like it. But like the video also, or if you don't, then don't. But thank you guys who are loyal supporters and subscribers of the channel. People who always leave the craziest comments, the most in-depth comments, the most well thought out comments, the most fun comments, and ring the bell for any future content. And as always, peace, recycle, and say the wells. You guys be cool.